Madhya Pradesh are abiding by it. While back home in Delhi, loudspeakers can be used now till midnight as festivities are allowed to continue for 2 more hours beyond what has usually been the stipulated cut-off time for loudspeakers, 10 p.m. Here's a full report.
This autumn Navratri festival has started with great fervour, and so has controversies. The states ruled by the Saffron party have set separate rules for this festive season. In the national capital, loudspeakers can be used during Ramlila, Durga Puja and other cultural religious events until midnight, giving it a 2 bonus hours of life. But the limit in residential areas would be 45 decibels.
अब आप रात 10 बजे तक नहीं बल्कि रात के 12 बजे तक अपने लाउड स्पीकर का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। ये ऑर्डर आज 22 तारीख से लागू होगा और 3 अक्टूबर तक ये चलेगा।
Delhi wants to follow Gujarat with Garba and Navratri celebrations continue through the night.
जिस तरह से कम्युनिकेट किया जाता उससे एकदम आग लगाने वाली बात है, देश को क्षति पहुंचाने की बात है और उससे पोलराइजेशन की हिंदू मुस्लिम वाली बात है, वह ध्यान में रख कर के ऐसा किया जा रहा है, वह गलत है।
Maihar in Madhya Pradesh, much like spring Navratri, has once again put a ban on sale of non-veg food items for all 9 days. Maihar is home to revered Ma Sharda Mandir, a Shakti Peeth for Hindus.
इस पावन नगरी पे 22 सितंबर से लेके 2 अक्टूबर तक के लिए मांस, मछली और अंडे के विक्रय को प्रतिबंधित किया गया है।
The ban on the sale of meat and other non-vegetarian items have been issued in Umaria as well. This ban has been put under Section 163 of the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. Those violating the provisions are liable to be prosecuted under Section 233 of the BNSS, which carries a punishment of 6 months imprisonment and a fine of 2,500 rupees. Bhopal District Administration has issued guidelines regarding Garba. The guidelines for Durga Puja and Garba pandals clearly state that no one will be allowed to enter the pandal without an identity card. The organizers are responsible for CCTV monitoring, which is mandatory to prohibit entry or use of suspicious items and weapons. Several posters were displayed outside a Garba pandal in Bhopal with clear instructions which mentioned that entry for people from non-Hindu communities would be prohibited and would lead to forced ouster.
हर आने जाने वाले का पहले माथे पे तिलक लगाया जाएगा, हाथ में रक्षा सूत्र बांधे जाएंगे। सनातन में सबसे पवित्र माना गया है गंगा जल का हम उनको सेवन कराएंगे।
गंगा जल यहाँ से
जी आप देख सकते गंगा जल का सेवन कराएंगे, गौमूत्र का छिड़काव किया जाएगा, फिर हम जो 12 देव हैं हमारे उनकी हम पूजा करवाएंगे, उसके बाद आपका आधार कार्ड चेक किया जाएगा, उसके बाद ही आपको प्रवेश दिया जाएगा।
These rules has led to a war of words between the ruling party and the opposition.
गरबा में ऐसा कौन आदमी जा रहा है जो वहाँ नफरत फैलाए या कानून व्यवस्था वहाँ बिगाड़ने की कोशिश करे? कोई जाएगा ही काय को? और बिना वजह ये अपने सरकार को खुश करने के लिए, नेताओं को खुश करने के लिए इस तरह के निर्णय कर रहे हैं और इस तरह के विभाजनकारी बातें कर रहे हैं।
भाईचारा अगर बना के रखना है तो इस प्रकार की स्थिति नहीं आना चाहिए, और यदि जनप्रतिनिधियों की मांग है और विभाग अधिकारियों ने अगर आदेश निकाले हैं तो मैं नहीं समझता क्योंकि गलत है। कांग्रेस वोट बैंक के लिए सब इस प्रकार की बात करती है, हमारा वोट बैंक का काम नहीं, हमारा सामाजिक समरसता का कार्यक्रम है।
Meat is banned in Banaras and the same rules to prohibit entry of non-Hindus in Garba is being followed in Agra. All these diktats of BJP find resonance in VHP's statements.
कई लोग अपने आप को सनातनी बनाने के चक्कर में कलावा भी बांध लेते हैं। कलावा के ऊपर मत जाए, आधार कार्ड चेक करे और वराह देवता के जो फोटो है उसकी पूजन कराने के बाद में, टीका लगाने के बाद में उनको पंडाल में आने की अनुमति दी जाए।
This Navratri saffron politics has added a bitter taste of politics to festive spirit. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, before we get into what looks like a very divisive debate, a very, very happy Navratri to all our viewers. Now, let's get into the debate, which clearly seems to suggest that, it's been a trend. We've seen it over the last couple of years where festival celebrations have been restricted to only one particular faith, which at least goes against on what has been the Indian ethos of everyone partaking in festivities. What's led to this change? Is there a change? Taking these questions, our panelists this evening: Rajat Sethi, political commentator; Ashutosh, columnist, author, political analyst; Sardar R.P. Singh, national spokesperson on BJP; Brijesh Kadappa, spokesperson, Congress. And I'd like to begin with the BJP spokesperson, R.P. Singh. Sardar R.P. Singh, the fact is, since when has it been Hindus only for celebrations? It's not just this time around. The last time, Navratras, was the same question, where placards right outside pandals of Garba, of Navratri celebrations, have very clear instructions that only Hindus can enter. Communal profiling for festivities is not what Indian ethos were, R.P. Singh.
Preeti, good evening and happy Navratri, and especially the Brahmacharini goddess day today. And this leads us to discipline in life and truth, following the truth in life. Issue is not that why a particular people from community are banned in Garba in certain pockets. It's not that everywhere. I mean, you are welcome to Garba in my area. People from, I will also join them. People from all other communities join them. But there have been complaints of some sort of element which has done some mischief a few times in various areas, especially in Gujarat. It happened, and keeping that in mind, it's in the issue of law and order, this issue of keeping the proper situation in control, the complete situation in control. That's why it's nothing that people from communities are banned. I mean, the only reason is that there was complaints of certain mischievous element, and then to avoid any sort of bickering or any sort of problem later on, that's why they have been banned in certain areas. That's not that nationwide there's some blanket ban in Navratri or Garbas for people to join or not to join.
You have 40 more seconds, but Sardar R.P. Singh, I'll pause your timing. Can we just pause the clock? Yeah. Let me ask you another question, sir. You're saying it's only in certain...
timing there.
Sir, okay, I'm sorry. I must, because I think most spokespersons know it. But yes, there's a 2-minute timer to all submissions. But Sardar R.P. Singh, let me ask you a counter on that, because you say it's only in certain pockets. It's not really quite just in pockets. The entire state of Maharashtra is adopting this norm. The entire state of Gujarat is adopting this norm. Key places from Bhopal all the way down to Indore,
I said Gujarat.
all the way down to Chindwara. No, I'm telling you, sir, it's not just Gujarat. Maharashtra, it has exactly the same diktat. Madhya Pradesh has the same diktat. Then you have Haryana, where word coming in, same diktat. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, there is nothing of that sort in Haryana. I'm very sure about it. Your state has not put any ban on Garba participation. But yes, in Maharashtra and Gujarat and certain pockets in Madhya Pradesh, because there were complaints last year, especially in Gujarat, there were issues. There was rioting also in the Garba celebration. During the Garba celebration, there were elements which walked into the such celebrations and disrupted the celebration. So, because there are certain norms to follow in the Garba also. So that's why it is. I mean, there's nothing of this sort that there is a blanket ban by any organization.
Okay. But that's what is being followed, sir, and that's the...
by some religious organization.
All right, so, but at least that is what is being followed in major pandals, be it Navratri celebrations or Garba celebrations, and we've seen this across most states. And or at least most states in northern India. There have been cases and reports coming in from our reporters who have filed in from the areas of Gurgaon, where Haryana and Faridabad are concerned. But, I'll circle back to you on this, because is there an attempt to just stop in terms of what you say is rowdy elements who might create issues, and or is there also an attempt to humiliate, put a tilak on their forehead, spray them with Gaumutra, make them do idol worship? It's seemingly targeting one particular community. But I'll cut across to the Congress spokesperson on this. Mr. Kadappa, the argument right now is that in certain pockets where there have been past issues and where elements have tried to at least, destabilize communal harmony. Therefore, these are precautionary measures. Number two, something which your party has complained about, which is where you have the time limit of loudspeakers, like in Delhi, being pushed from 10 p.m., which is the stipulated guidelines by the Supreme Court, to 12 a.m. It's not that it hasn't happened before. 2023, it happened in Delhi. In Goa, sir, every time there's Christmas, loudspeakers extensions have been made till 12 a.m. and the Supreme Court in its 2022 mandated guidelines had said at times of celebrations there can be relaxation. So what's so wrong in that?
See, the first thing is, Preeti, that let me speak now as not just a Congress spokesperson, also as a Hindu myself. And, these are, outstanding, beautiful programs, including the Garba, including the programs of lighting and including the Aarti and so on and so forth. I asked myself this question, Preeti, that as a Hindu, is it not, an occasion for me to highlight and show my religious ceremonies to the world at large? After all, the Hindu practices Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which encompasses all humanity, right? So why am I trying to keep people out? Because on the one hand, the BJP says that there are certain communities which are trying to proselytize the Hindus, right? And here's such a beautiful program which is being conducted by the Hindus, and we want to keep the other communities out. How are we going to showcase what the Hindus do during these programs, the beauty of Hindu culture? How are these going to be showcased if everybody is going to be kept out? Now, one. Two is, what is the difference between, Pakistan, which says that, no, you can't, allow people of other religions into mosques on such and such day and so on and so forth, and us? I ask myself the question because ultimately, I think these are very important questions that we as Hindus must ask ourselves. And this is the first part. Second part is that with great difficulty, we have established outstanding millennium cities like Gurgaon. And there is a huge influx of foreigners there. Now, if you're going to say that, look, you can't come and see the program, you're going to be out, whether it's somebody from, say, the Middle East, where there is a large, section of the Hindu population there, where we have built temples and all this. Now we are going to say, no, please don't come to our temples. I don't know how fair it is and how welcoming we look as Hindus.
All right, so your time is up. I just want to, also add to, at least with what our reporters found on ground, the attempt is not to keep all other communities away. And one needs to verbalize it. The attempt, at least in front of most of these puja pandals, is to keep one community away, Muslims. And that is very clear with all the reports that have been filed. I want to cut across right now to Rajat Sethi and Ashutosh. Rajat Sethi, to bring you in on this. It's hogwash if the Congress is demanding that why is there an extension of loudspeakers? It happens in every state and should happen during the time of festivities. The Supreme Court itself mandates it. But Rajat, on the flip side, two issues. One, where meat ban is concerned. One might seem to suggest that, this is a sensitive issue, especially during Navratri. It's, a time of fasting for the Hindu communities, but not all Hindu communities, Rajat. There are tribals in Madhya Pradesh, in Maharashtra, there is a section that actually eats meat during Navratras. There are Bengalis that eat meat and they reside all across the country. So the meat ban is questionable. And number two, if we're going to get into rampant profiling, where you're going to have posters outside pandals which say, keep jihadis out, and then validated by the state government of Maharashtra, of Madhya Pradesh, isn't it problematic?
Well, let me begin by saying that my previous panelist was just mentioning that as if Garba is some kind of a program or some kind of a party going on which is trying to invite or disinvite a few set of people. It is a religious gathering where people are coming in to celebrate a religious function. Okay, the religiosity of it remains paramount. So let's not treat it as if it's some kind of a party going on and everybody can come in, join the party, try and sully the mood there, and try and create communal rift over there. That's point number one. Point number two, look at Dubai. During the Ramadan fest, the entire month, you're not able to, you don't even see restaurants opening up in the broad daylight. There are only very few selected restaurants on the periphery of the city where you can go out and eat during the daytime. That is the sensitivity that you need to have when you're visiting Dubai, and that holds for all foreigners. And by the way, Dubai doesn't just have Muslims, it has people from all different religious backgrounds and from different global ethnicities. They come down and they respect the place. And therefore, having sensitivities of people who adhere to certain restrictive ways of celebrating a festival need to be allowed and be respected. I don't see this as a small amount of a sacrifice coming in from the others who are not directly celebrating, or those who have to curb their habits of eating into meat. They can't survive by not eating meat for those 9 days. I think this is how societies are organized, by mutually contributing, by giving up certain things, and in this larger ahuti, you come in and you build layers of social cohesion. Now, if you want to deliberately try and see that everything is being seen as one part of the society trying to impose on the other part of the society, that's a very wrong inference that you want to draw. Lastly, I want to say that yes, there are always actors who want to misuse certain aspects of every religious functions. They have to be controlled.
All right, Rajat, I'll circle back to you because the UAE is an Islamic state, number one, and there is one clear diktat where Islam is concerned when it comes to the month of Ramzan. In the Hindu religion, there are various sets that actually eat meat as part of celebration, and that happens from across the country. There are Bengalis in Madhya Pradesh, in Delhi. For them, fish is essential, meat is essential. There are tribals where it's essential as part of celebration. But I'll circle back to you. I want to bring in Ashutosh into this conversation. Ashutosh, the fact is, at one end, it's better to not cause any communal tension, so it is better, at least what RP Singh say, to keep a set out. But the second thing, Ashutosh, where we are talking about today, there's a huge political debate about why have we suddenly, or has governments in various states like Delhi, where we live, have extended the hours for loudspeakers. Every state does that. It is mandated by the Supreme Court to do so during the time of festivities. It happens in Goa. Nobody quite says anything during Christmas, but when it happens during Navratri, there are double standards. That's the charge.
See, Preeti, I really want to know who are these people who will go and visit these garbas after being उनके ऊपर गौमूत्र छिड़का जाएगा, उसके बाद वो जाएंगे. So मैं वाकई में जानना चाहूँगा वो कौन हिंदू होंगे जो अपने ऊपर गौमूत्र छिड़काना चाहेंगे और फिर उसके बाद अंदर जाएंगे. You know, this politics of exclusion has done great damage to the Hindu society, and it's not me who's saying. I'm just quoting from the 6 glorious epochs of Indian history written by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, and I'll read it out. I only read it out. He writes, to these very religious practices of the time, we have ascribed in our various articles on the caste system the name Loti Bandi, Roti Bandi, Beti Bandi, Sparsh Bandi, Shuddhi Bandi, Sindhu Bandi. These 7 bandis are the bans which arrested not only the progress of the Hindus, but also impaired their normal way of life. These fetters were not forcibly fastened to the feet of the Hindu nation by any Muslim, Christian or other foreign powers. They were also fastened by the Hindus themselves in their extreme anxiety for the protection of their religion. And then he says that as a means of being dawned the religious aggression of the Muslims, this counter-stroke of the Hindu caste system proved to be the most ineffectual and useless, like a blunted sword. On the contrary, these very laws and flaws, strict adherence to them brought about a series of disasters on the Hindu religion and the Hindu nation, making the conversion of millions of Hindus far too easier for the Muslims. That can be imagined, while it cannot be denied that they made the conversion of Muslim to Hindus absolutely impossible. This is what the Savarkar has said. These are the practices, and they are basically not the adherents of the Hindu system. They are damaging Hindu society, they are damaging Hindu nation, they are damaging Hindu as a religion, and because they want to create a kind of Hindu, not the Hindu per se. They should listen to Savarkar at least.
Sir, your time is up. I'm going to come in for final 2 minutes for all our participants in this debate, and I want to begin with the BJP spokesperson, Sardar RP Singh. Sardar RP Singh, there there are always fringe elements when it comes down to every religion. It's how seriously one takes them. So if the VHP has come up with this list of demands which seems to suggest there will be a tilak on your forehead, we will tie a kaleva, we will make you pray to an idol, we will spray you with Gomutra only, and then we will check your identity, and only then will you be allowed to enter. They are free to say what they want to. But the sheer fact that in certain states the government has adopted this, that is worrying. The second thing, RP Singh, you come in from Delhi, right? And sir, you yourself know Delhi is a melting pot. We have huge populations of Bengalis who are celebrating Durga Puja as we speak in their pandals. We have a huge Sikh population like you, sir. And even though there is no official meat ban, but there is a soft ban already, which was demanded by your very own leaders. You had Mr. Parvesh Verma, who openly has called for all meat shops to be shut. How is this inclusive, sir?
First, Ashutosh, it's great to hear word of praise from your mouth about the leaders whom you hate otherwise. But that point aside, Preeti, there is no order from the state. Individuals can have their idea. Individuals can think about what they want to do. They can go and make requests to individuals in their areas and in their domains. But there is no blanket ban. I'm sorry, you are projecting as there is some sort of blanket ban, and I have not seen any order of or any letter from Vishnu Parishad or any note from Vishnu Parishad what you are quoting. One. Secondly, let me give you another example. I, as a Sikh, I'm not supposed to eat halal, but I'm forced to eat halal without knowing it. I mean, unknowingly, I'm forced to eat halal. Every day I go to any meat shop, where any other restaurant. There's a rule by MCD, local MCD bodies, that anyone who has to serve halal should put a board saying that he is serving halal or a jhatka. But it's not implemented in Delhi. There's already a ruling by the local bodies. So there are rules which are passed, there are rules which are implemented by these individuals in society. So it's not that there is something like what is a norm. It's not a norm. It's how do you accept what is there, good for society, good for your living in a cohesive society, or you're saying as Delhi or as Gurgaon or other cities which has come up in the last few years. So it's nothing like you're trying to classify into rules, that there is some rule by some organization, nothing of that sort. And again, if there are miscreant, police is bound to take action, local administration is bound to take action, and they are bound to take preventive actions. As for celebrating till 12 o'clock, there is again a rule there that it will not cross a decibel level of 45.
Okay.
That will not cross a decibel level of 45. So
okay, Sardar RP Singh, time's up.
It is all under law.
Okay, sir, time is up, but two things. I'm not saying that, number one, where you say that I'm trying to project that the VHP has come up with rules and states have accepted, so you should have seen our follow-up package before we introduced you. The VHP has done so. And pandals in the state of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh have adopted it. So you have legitimized the demands which are as bizarre as spraying Gau Mutra. Number one, sir. Number two, I did say that there is no blanket official ban in Delhi, but there is a soft ban where leaders from your own party have been asking for a complete meat ban in Delhi, which you yourself know, sir. These are the two things I was saying. But I just want to move to our Congress spokesperson, Brijesh Kadapa. Sir, the larger question here is the Congress has always, the pendulum had swung so far left in terms of appeasement that we see the kind of reactions coming in today, and that happened thanks to your own political outfit. The sheer fact, you have the likes of Uday Raj who have come out and are actually criticizing the extension of loudspeakers for 2 hours from 10 to 12 when the top court of the country itself has mandated during celebrations, relax the norms. And that doesn't come in for one religion, it's for every religion.
See, Preeti, as far as the Indian National Congress is concerned, you will find that whenever the Indian National Congress has been ruling, the number of investments rise. And why does it rise? It rises for this reason, that we have an inclusive approach. And just the creation of, say, Gurgaon. Let me give you an example of now Gurgaon. And Gurgaon is today in the, one of the leading cities in India. It is the Millennium City of India. And, a large number of people from abroad converge here. And I think it's essential for all of us to make them feel at home. So this inclusivity is most essential, not just for to give the feel that India is a welcoming country, one. Two, also so that investments grow. And you will find that wherever the Congress is, this kind of inclusivity exists. Now, an exclusive environment, just like what is now happening in BJP-ruled states, is something which drives people away. And I suspect, Preeti, that whenever somebody asks you for an Aadhaar card, and then chirkao, gomutra and so on and so forth, I think this is also a means of keeping people from certain communities within the Hindu fold out. Because these cases are also increasing. You will find that temples are run exclusively by certain communities, and this is essentially not an issue about keeping people who follow a different religion out, but also about keeping people who don't belong, who are outside the Varna system outside, and this is happening across the board. So I think it's essential for us to realize that these kind of means of keeping people out, first thing, in a caste-ridden society like the Hindu community, should never be permitted by government. One. Two, the sanction which it is receiving from government should be clamped down upon.
So your time is up. I don't know where you've come in from the investment angle from, because I don't think there's any clear data to corroborate that claim. But having said that, should it not be really just about inclusivity of, we've been known as a country that share each other's festivals. But, I'm running out of time. I want to give 2 minutes each to Rajat Sethi and Ashutosh to make their point. Rajat, would you like to go first? Your time begins now, sir.
See, I have lost track of what Congress was just saying, and therefore my own thought process, because the kind of claims that were made just now were as bizarre as it can get. Again, Gujarat, where BJP has been in power and the Garba is being celebrated, has the best investment environment. So don't go in there. There is absolutely no data. And Gurgaon is no role model, by the way. Again, coming back to the moot point here. Why is it that your program always starts getting activated around the Kavan Yatra program or the Navratri? Do you do a similar program that these are the set of nuisances which have been created during Ramadan? Of course you will not do. This is the selective typecasting of the entire community which is done on national television. Would you ever do such a program during the other holy days, during the Christmas time, during the New Year celebrations, during the entire week around when Muslims carry out the Muharrams and Muharram Yatras across the country? You will not do that. Aren't there any other anti-social elements which are part of those programs? 100% yes. You will require those colored lenses to go out and only pick and choose Hindu festivals and try and sully the mood on a national primetime show at 7 to 7:30 p.m. I mean, what big disservice you can do? Identify, call out anti-social elements over there who all are there, and let the police and let the respective state governments act against those. But trying to sully the environment of the entire nation when the celebrations have barely begun smells of something sinister, and I want to call this out. There is nothing which is happening at the scale you want to project. Everybody is enjoying festivals with peace and harmony. Let's not run and carry out stories and paint the whole community as if this community is to be blamed for whatever is happening in the country, etc., etc. Let's not jump to that. All hues and colors of political parties have been together, celebrating together. There are Gujarati Congress leaders also. Get their opinion also. What happens in Garba and what is their opinion on Garba and what is happening.
So your time is up. The fact is, Mr. Sethi, I don't need moral reference points for the kind of stories that I carry. And I am a Hindu. I am a practicing Hindu. And just in terms of, because if you have any other notions on that. And why do I pick these shows? Because it bothers me as a Hindu. Because number one, and I'll tell you what, no, you can laugh. Please laugh. Number one, if during any other religion, if a state legitimizes fringe outfits, where ID cards are being checked, where Gaumutra is being sprayed, all of that. I don't think, where has it ever happened? Where they have banned Hindus from entering festivals which the Muslim community carries out. Has it ever happened? If it has, please let me know. Where the state government has legitimized. where the
Preeti ji,
state
no
government
Hindu is
has
keen to going
legitimized
into a
it.
masjid
Rajat
and
Sethi, it's
doing
not an
namaz.
argument between you and
Which
I,
Hindu
but
has
maybe
ever attempted to go into a namaz?
the colored glasses that you were
Come on, that's
speaking
just
of,
as
maybe you
bizarre
need
as
to
it can
take
get.
that out,
Don't
especially
try to carry
from
forward this
the side
bizarreness
of
to-
the divide that you
new
argue
limits.
on. I don't need,
Let's leave it
I
there.
absolutely need no advice from
allow
the
your
likes of
audience
you
to-
who
allow
peddle
your
only
audience to
one
come to a
agenda.
conclusion.
With that, I'd like to give 2 minutes right now. Sir, you've had your say, now allow me to have mine. Now I want to give 2 minutes to Ashutosh, concluding points. Ashutosh, please go.
Preeti, I will be more than happy if my dear friend Rajat Sethi and RP Singh and those standing over there could recite the 2 slokas from the Gita. I'm a non-believer. I'm a Hindu, I'm a non-believer. But I can tell you, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhittanam adharmasya tadmanam sajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanartha sambhavami yuge yuge. I don't need certificate from Rajat Sethi and RP Singh of the word that I am a Hindu. I know what Hinduism is all about. You know, this is what the Savarkar has said, that the kind of people who had ruled, who dehumanized a section of the society for more than thousands of years, they are setting rules. They are telling us, I'll spray Gaumutra on you, only then you will become Hindu. You will deserve to be there in Go. Who are these people? Can they cite even one Hanuman Chalisa, one para? Can they cite this? None. They can't. The fact of the matter is, these are the people suddenly have become the owners of the Hindu religion. The sad part is,
Can I just get Ashutosh? Let him give the time. Yeah, let him finish. Sir, you have 15 more seconds to make your point.
These self-proclaimed protector of Hindu religion have nothing to do with Hinduism, including Rajat Sethi and RP Singh and those standing over there. Because they can't cite even the 2 slokas from the Gita. I can do that despite being non-believer. You know what is? There is a double speak. RSS says कि जो अपने आप को हिंदू भगवान राम को माने कृष्ण को माने उसको हम अपना मानते हैं. Banu Mushtaq was criticized that she can't go and inaugurate Dashara festival. Why? Because she's a Muslim. A PhD scholar in Banaras University, he can't teach in Sanskrit because he's a Muslim. And you say that हम सब लोगों को गले लगा के चलते हैं. You believe in Vasundhara Kutumbika. There can't be more hypocrisy than this. They deserve my pity, nothing else.
All right, sir, your time is up. I think you did rile up Rajat Sethi. Does he want to come in? Let's cut across to Rajat Sethi. Can we get the window? I believe he's left because he wanted to come in, and I just want to say it on record because right after this he'll say you didn't give me time. So he's decided to leave the show because I was giving him time. But RP Singh, sir, because you were also quoted by Ashutosh, you have 20 seconds to make your point.
No. I have all the admiration today for Ashutosh for quoting Veer Savarkar, for his admiration for Veer Savarkar today. I mean, I have all the salutation to you, Mr. Ashutosh. But fact is, by just chanting the mantra or by reading out, give me a second, sir, I never interrupted you. I can challenge you to recite one mantra or one slok from or one part of the Gurbani also. So which everyone has a right
now,
to...
you know, this is a back and forth of challenges. Ashutosh, you want to accept that challenge because I'll go into a break, but let's just end on a nicer note. It's festivities and let's hope, you know, we all partake in that, irrespective of our religion.
I'm a non-believer Hindu, but I can recite Hanuman Chalisa. Jai Hanuman Gyan Guna Sagar, Jai Kapis Pujagar, Mahavir Vikram Bajrangi, Kumatni Mar Sumat Ke Sangi, Kanan Kunchan Kanchan. I can go on and on and on.
Okay, sir.
I don't need certificate
I'm going to close
these RSS people.
Sardar RP Singh, for anybody else who wants to, who is not Hindu but is of another religion, can they come to your puja pandal?
For a few days, you will also admire more Bhagavad Ji.
Sardar RP Singh, can they come to your puja pandal who's a non-Hindu?
Anytime, anytime.
Okay.
And again,
well done, sir.
Don't present some, Preeti, let me also say that, don't project as if there is some blanket ban.
Sir, I'm just telling you about the places where it is.
Sardar Sahib, who are these people? Who have
I'm going to
end
this. This is not a tutu meme debate. I'm ending it. I appreciate all our guests for joining us and viewers. Let's all have a great festival season, irrespective of religion, because that's what the ethos of India was, sharing. Celebrations, festivities. A quick break. On the other side, we get you Sadly, our last recorded interview with music legend Zubeen Garg as he was laid to rest in Assam today. I spoke with him in 2019.
Our heritage, our culture, our...
रायचन स्टील।
स्टील? आपने वरदान स्टील का नाम सुना होगा।
ऑफ कोर्स। आप मिस्टर वरदान के बेटे हैं?
नहीं।
छोटे भाई?
नहीं।
दामाद?
नहीं।
फिर?
शेयर होल्डर।
शेयर होल्डर?
सही टाइम पे उनके शेयर्स खरीदे, तभी आज मैं यहाँ हूँ।
जो आगे की सोचते हैं, ग्रो करते हैं। डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड IPO।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
सर, ट्राई बेरी पुलाव। टू गुड। Good, no?
Hey, why are you giving him such looks? Ignore tips and use your own mind before you order. Lots of people give unsolicited stock tips. It can be dangerous. Study the company and the risk associated. Invest only after analysis.
An investor awareness initiative by SEBI.
I choose a world where we dream, and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए और ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए।
अरे ये क्या है?
ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए और ये घर की रक्षा के लिए।
न जले न पिघले, घर घर को सेफ बनाएं। अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Hello, Moto. Do the Moto Moto.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer.
रायचन स्टील।
स्टील? आपने वरदान स्टील का नाम सुना होगा।
ऑफ कोर्स। आप मिस्टर वरदान के बेटे हैं?
नहीं।
छोटे भाई?
नहीं।
दामाद?
नहीं।
फिर?
शेयर होल्डर।
शेयर होल्डर?
सही टाइम पे उनके शेयर्स खरीदे, तभी आज मैं यहाँ हूँ।
जो आगे की सोचते हैं, ग्रो करते हैं। डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड IPO।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Hello, Moto. Do the moto moto.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer. Grab Motorola Edge 60 Pro today.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Shah Rukh and Vikrant Messi shines at 71st National Awards. Receives Best Actor Award. Akhilesh on Azam Khan's release. Says all cases will be withdrawn if we form government. Ashok Choudhry sends rupees 100 crore defamation notice to Prashant Kishore.
India Today Conclave Mumbai 2025. September 25 and 26 Mumbai. Book your seat now.
Welcome back, viewers. Let's shift focus now to Kolkata. Heavy rain lashed Kolkata and has thrown life completely out of gear in the times of Pujo. Many pandals across the city have been flooded, several places completely inundated. 9 have been declared dead due to electrocution alone.
Days ahead of Pujo festivities, Kolkata witnessed incessant rainfall and a flood like never before. Roads flooded, metro services hit, Durga pandals submerged, and vehicles completely drowned in water. The Kolkata airport waterlogged, leading to flight cancellations and delayed flights, leaving flyers stranded. A similar sight was witnessed at Sialda railway station, where trains were seen submerged in water.
Eastern Railway have already declared that there are several long-distance trains which have been rescheduled due to this waterlogging in different parts of the Howrah division. And similar incident we have seen in Southeastern division in Sialda station as well. The railway authorities are tirelessly working to pump out the water from the tracks.
The massive waterlogging brought traffic, public transport and daily life to a grinding halt across the city of Joy.
Most parts of the city of Joy, Kolkata, are currently waterlogged due to the heavy rainfall that lasted at least 6 hours overnight. And right now we are present in front of Netaji Nagar post office, which is in the South Kolkata area. And this street is also waterlogged. Most of the shops are closed, and auto services, bus services, everything have been suspended due to the waterlogging situation. And a person was died after being electrocuted in this particular area.
Rainwater entered homes and government offices. The roads approaching the secretariat were flooded. Officials and staff struggled to drain the rainwater. Schools shut till September 25th. Multiple flood-related deaths were reported in different parts of the city. Unprecedented rains exposing the inadequate infrastructure and civic mess in the city. To make matters worse, the IMD has predicted more rains in the coming days, clouding the Durga Puja fervour. With Tapas Sengupta, Rajesh Sinha and Indrajit Kundu. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, we're going to keep a keen eye on all developments where Kolkata is concerned, but I want to shift focus right now to the state of Assam, steeped in grief. With Maya Bini on their lips, the people of Assam bid a heartfelt, emotional farewell to their beloved Zubeen Dar. His cremation took place today on the outskirts of Guwahati, where lakhs of fans gathered to pay their final respects, honoured with state honours and a 21-gun salute. Zubeen Garba was laid to rest today. I want to cut across, viewers, now to the last interview of Zubeen Garg, where he spoke to me in 2019 and mostly spoke of what is closest or what was closest to his heart, Assam, Assamese pride and its people. Listen in.
What does Assamese pride mean to you?
Assamese pride. Our heritage, our culture, our music. We are very strong in that.
And why do you're viewed as an icon, the people we've been talking to. You're viewed as this overarching icon, as a savior of Assamese pride. Especially, the kind of stand you've taken recently.
People love me a lot because I'm always rebel. And I'm very blunt. What I say on stage, in front of everyone. I never hide anything. So they love me, and especially the new generation, they believe I can do anything. That's not true, but I can fight with them, for them. So I've always tried that, and I've always tried to promote my music, my culture, everywhere, wherever I've gone. Even now we are trying to promote our silk, our clothes, our food. Like we have trying to build up a revolution everywhere, in all the villages, with the villagers, with the girls, with the women. So my wife is also helping in that. So it's a process we are going through. And my music is there. I left Bombay because of our film industry, because I wanted to boost it up. So that's why last year I made a film. It was a 3 crores budget film. Nobody risked here, but I risked it, and it created record. So every year I want to promote at least one film from my side.
I came here in the morning. You have a very eccentric, strange way of life. Can you explain that? You've got people milling about all day. You've got your fans who come in, take pictures, who go out.
Yeah, they're open. It's open for everyone, actually.
I know, I was here in the morning.
So that's why I made this place for sitting and adda and talking to everyone, sharing views.
So it's an open house?
It's open, yeah. Only the studio is closed because that's my studio, so I only have work there.
Right, and you've got this graffiti going out on the wall. People come and wish you. They're waiting for you.
Yeah, the wall I donated to all the children here. So they can come, they can do paintings whenever they wish.
Whenever they wish, which is quite cool.
Even I opened a gym also downstairs. Big gym for all the
locals,
girls and boys here. Yeah, locals.
Oh, so they just come in.
Yeah, anyone can do.
Anyone can come in gym. It's very interesting. Okay, so I want to ask you.
I'm a socialist, basically.
Socialist. Okay.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
I choose a world where we dream, and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a decor brand. Live consciously.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Hello, Moto. Do the moto.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer.
Hi, I'm Sana. Here's your weather update. Delhi maximum 37 and minimum 29 degrees. Mumbai maximum 27 and minimum 23 degrees. Kolkata maximum 32 and minimum 24 degrees. Bengaluru maximum 25 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai maximum 34 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad maximum 28 and minimum 21 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hello, Moto. Do the Moto Moto.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer.
कांग्रेस की एक पुरानी आदत है कि विकास का जो भी काम मुश्किल होता है उस काम को वो कभी हाथ ही नहीं लगाते, भाग जाते। कांग्रेस की इस आदत का नॉर्थ ईस्ट को, अरुणाचल को भी बहुत नुकसान हुआ। जो मुश्किल इलाके होते थे, जो पहाड़ों में हो, ये जंगलों के बीच हो, जहां विकास के काम करना चुनौती होता था, उन क्षेत्रों को कांग्रेस पिछड़ा घोषित करके भूल जाती थी। जो बॉर्डर से सटे गांव थे, उनको देश के लास्ट विलेज कहकर कांग्रेस अपना पल्ला झाड़ लेती थी। और ऐसा करके कांग्रेस अपनी नाकामियों को छुपा ले जाती थी। साथियों, हमारी सरकार ने, बीजेपी ने इस अप्रोच को भी बदल दिया। जिनको कांग्रेस बैकवर्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट कहती थी, हमने उनको एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट बनाया और वहां विकास को प्राथमिकता दी गई।
Co-presented by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Co-powered by
My Trident. My love for home. Co-powered by Seat Crossdrive. Grip you can trust.
Good evening. You're watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. US President Donald Trump is speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, and for the nth time, he's claimed that he ended 7 wars in just over 7 months of his presidency. He's claimed credit for ending 7 unendable wars, as he described them, emphasizing his role in global peace efforts. One of those 7 wars, he said, was also the war between India and Pakistan. He said this is the job of the United Nations. He actually hit out at the United Nations, saying the UN was not doing his job and not even helping him do this job. He listed out the 7 wars when he said Cambodia, Thailand, Kosovo, Serbia, Congo, Rwanda, Pakistan, India, Israel, Iran, and Armenia, Azerbaijan are the wars that he ended. He, of course, has emphasized on his foreign policy initiative and narrative, which he insists focuses extensively on reducing American military involvement overseas. Before I get you more on this big story, let's listen in to US President Donald Trump at the UN.
It's not making Russia look good. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them.
Now, the big story coming in, the Donald Trump administration is now exploring significant changes on how H-1B visas are issued. Now, the filing that's been submitted in the Office of the Information and Regulatory Affairs, and this has been submitted on the 17th of July, the Department of Homeland Security, or the DHS, it's proposed introducing a weighted selection process for applicants under the cap portion of the H-1B visas. Now, because the number of applicants far outstrips the openings, there was a lottery system that's currently being used to determine who are beneficiaries of the H-1B visas. And India, of all the visas that are issued, 71% beneficiaries are Indians. Now, this change would impact and affect the 85,000 statutorily capped visas and prioritizes factors like a salary or a qualification. Indians who make the majority of H-1B visa recipients may be impacted by this. And I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, who joins us for more on this. So, Geeta, from the lottery system to the weightage system that will be issued on educational qualifications, on salary caps, what are the changes that are being proposed and how does that impact the H-1B visa seekers in India?
Well, again, we'll have to wait for a detailed explanation. But from what we're seeing and what I gather, Gaurav, it's very clear from the statements that were made earlier by the Trump administration, by senior officials in the Trump administration, and by President Trump himself when he said, we want Americans to get the jobs. Now, what kind of jobs are the Americans going to get? They're going to get the jobs which, because of cheaper labor and skilled labor coming from India, were also occupying the spaces which basically categorized about $65,000 and less income group as well. Now, high-skilled techies from India are not replaceable. They're irreplaceable, very strong assets, not just for India, but particularly for the United States of America. So this H-1B visa that now is capping or weighing the categories will in all probability have to do with the high-skilled, high-paying jobs which will be secured by Indians who are hired for very specific, very high-end jobs and very high-end and high-skilled or high-intensive skills.
Geeta, stay with me for a moment. There's more breaking news coming in from the UNGA address of the US President Donald Trump. It's a big comment on India and China. President Donald Trump says China and India are the main funders of Russia's war on Ukraine. This is President Trump targeting China and India. Now, it remains to be seen whether he also talks about US that continues to import from Russia palladium, fertilizers, and European Union that continues to be the biggest importer of natural gas from Russia and continues to import oil. Or even in his UNGA address, as he blames the United Nations for an escalator that does not work or his teleprompter that was not working, does he only pass the buck blaming China and India and not the European Union and the United States of America? And of course, China remains the biggest importer of Russian oil. I want to once again bring in India Today's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan. So Geeta, it's almost like, a template that he's made, whether it's at the White House or in the UN, it's the same speech. Now he says China and India are the biggest funders of Russia's war.
Well, if you look at everything that he said is a reiteration, whether calling United Nations an irrelevant agency, poor, dilapidated, broken, making fun at the United Nations, hurling insults at the United Nations, or for that matter, claiming the 7 unending wars that he ended, and now going ahead and reiterating what he's been saying all along, that India and China are the main funders of the Russia-Ukraine war. Also, more importantly, Gaurav, over here, he's reiterating something that's very important and which Marco Rubio also only a while ago said in an interview, saying that Europe has also been one buying oil from Russia, that they should stop. And secondly, he's insisting that as America has done, so should Europe impose sanctions on countries that are importing oil and gas from Russia. Now, that's an impossible ask because we know that there are countries in Europe who not only take oil or gas from Russia, but also import oil indirectly from India, and that's Russian oil. So, in all probability for Europe, it will be an impossible. But Trump reiterating that in no other place but the United Nations General Assembly Hall is certainly a big news, a big development. Trump upping the ante over here, escalating those tensions that we're seeing between India and the US. Not so much between US and China, Gaurav.
And this happens at a time, Geeta, that you have India's External Affairs Minister who's at the UNGA. You have India's Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal. So you have Dr. Jaishankar and Piyush Goyal at two different interactions with the United States. One with the US Secretary of State and the other with the Commerce Secretary and the trade representatives.
Also, the two leaders met. Marco Rubio and Dr. Jaishankar had met yesterday in New York ahead of Donald Trump's speech. And the readout, the brief readout that was put out was about how they're looking at the developments and relations and wanting to move forward. Marco Rubio in an interview today said that yes, that they have levied extra 25% tariff, but they would want to fix it. But in the same breath, also spoke about how not just America, countries in Europe also should start sanctioning other countries to dissuade them from importing Russian oil. So mixed signals coming from Washington. Doesn't seem like they're going to move forward on a thaw in the tense ties between India and the US anytime soon, Gaurav. They do have an
trade negotiations are on. Now, all of these are these levers of negotiation. And Geeta, stay with me, because for the benefit of viewers who are joining us, the India-US trade negotiations, we are being told they're in a crucial phase. Optimist signal progress towards a resolution. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is heading the Indian team. Rajesh Agrawal, Special Secretary in Department of Commerce and the Chief Trade Negotiator. They're already in the US. This follows a visit by the US team led by US Assistant US Trade Representative for South and Central Asia, Brendan Lynch. He'd earlier visited Delhi. However, there are those analysts who say that US President Donald Trump not only imposed the initial 25%, but an additional 25% tariff or sanctions on India for continuing to buy the Russian oil. But he also hit India with a double whammy. First, the revocation of the exemption from sanctions for the Chabahar port, and then the H-1B visa fee hiked to $100,000. This is being seen as a potential negotiation or a negotiating lever. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar has met US Secretary of State Marco Rubio in New York on the sidelines of UNGA. Jaishankar also met US Ambassador nominee Sergio Gore, who spoke of strengthening bilateral ties. But let me elaborate a bit on this triple whammy. First, the H-1B visa. That's a sudden shock. Trump has ordered a $100,000 fee on every new H-1B visa petition. Now, this order came into effect midnight, September 21. It's the biggest hit on Indian IT firms, which are the largest users, 71% of this entire visa program. Industry experts warn this is a massive cost burden. It threatens both competitiveness and future hirings from India. Now, let me focus on number two, the Chabahar port sanctions. Again, on the 20th of September, and very quietly, US revoked India's waiver for operations at this very crucial Chabahar port that India and Iran were working on. Now, this waiver that was granted in 2018 had been vital for India's not just trade, but connectivity, not just with Afghanistan, but also with Central Asia and beyond. Now, this reversal, part of Trump's maximum pressure on Iran policy, directly impacts India's strategic interests and India's economic interests and the outreach to the region. The third, the tariffs on exports that we were talking about, the 25% additional tariffs beyond the 25%, the 25% that were imposed on the 27th of August. And that's because of India continuing to buy Russian oil. So what does this indicate? 50% plus tariffs, the steepest on a trading partner. What does this mean? Let's try and make sense of these developments. Joining me on this India First special broadcast, our Ambassador Vivek Karjo, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs, and he's been our Ambassador to Afghanistan. Craig Kafura is Director Public Opinion and Foreign Policy at the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, and in a moment I'll be joined by my colleague Sandeep Punithan for more on this big story. Ambassador Kaju, you've been our ambassador to Afghanistan. Trump is seeking that Bagram airbase again, and he's revoking the sanctions exemption given to India for Chabahar port. Now, do you see this as a negotiations lever ahead of forward movement on the trade deal, or do you see, is there more to it than meets the eye?
Before I answer your question, let me say this, that it is one thing to make statements on nationally on positions which are bilateral, and it's quite another thing to make them in a UNGA speech. Today, he has upped the ante exponentially. And India, at this crucial stage, when Jaishankar is there, when Piyush Goyal is also there to negotiate the trade deal, I think the first decision that they will have to take is whether they exercise the right of reply, which is that whether some Indian diplomat will at some stage today say that the war, the India-Pakistan clash, Operation Sindoor, was ended on Indian terms bilaterally. That will be a test of the Modi government's resolve. That is the first point. And the second point, will we say that as far as oil is concerned, we will continue to buy Russian oil or buy oil from any source that is in conformity with our interests? This is a very delicate moment for Indian diplomacy. And I would hate to be in the position of the two ministers, especially in Jaishankar's position today, because if we place this on record in the United Nations, then it will stay there forever. And it would mean that in the UN, we have refuted the US president's statements. So that is a first dilemma that our diplomats will face, and indeed our political leadership will also face at the highest level. Now, second, coming to your specific question, well, I've seen that the Taliban have said that there's no question of their handing over Bagram to the US. In response, Trump has indicated that he has levers. I don't know what kind of levers he's talking about, because he is the one who withdrew from Afghanistan and accepted a humiliating defeat, strategic defeat at the hands of the Taliban, aided by Pakistan in the forever war. So I, for one, do not see how he can, in the face of Taliban intransigence, hope to get Bagram. Even if, now this is my last point, even if he were to offer them diplomatic recognition, which of course the Russians have, but I don't see that happening easily. As far as Chabahar is concerned, he's of course squeezing us. It is in conformity with what he has done on H-1B visas, on tariffs, and on Chabahar. So it's part of the same continuum. He will, Gaurav, mind you, he will not be satisfied with getting relief, getting his way only on the trade deal. He'll also want us to bend on Russian purchase of Russian oil. And my fear is that he might want his appetite whetted. He might want more. And you know what I mean when I say he might want more. So this is a very difficult time for us diplomatically.
Craig Kafura, how do you look at all that Donald Trump is saying, especially after India had made it very clear he had no role to play whatsoever in bringing about the ceasefire between India and Pakistan? If he spoke to Pakistan and got Pakistan to speak to India for a ceasefire, that's for him to clarify. But does that put India-US relations in a very difficult situation right now? Because India may have to, or perhaps would have to, exercise the right to reply and refute him.
So I think you framed it earlier as mixed signals from Washington, and I think that's right. So you've identified these three different things that all affect India, right? You've got the increased tariffs because of Russian oil purchases. You've got the Chabahar port revocations, and you've got the H-1B changes. But I suspect that all of those have come out of different sources and different policy processes, right? We've seen previously that U.S. immigration policy and U.S. trade and security policies are not talking to each other, right? We saw this in the Hyundai plant raid in Georgia, right? South Korea agreed to invest huge amounts of money. They just closed a deal with the U.S. They're going into negotiations on other issues, but that seems to have been a completely unrelated raid that has really tanked U.S.-South Korea relations. I suspect that the Trump administration did not even think of the impacts on U.S.-India relations when it decided to make H-1B changes. On the Chabahar port, same thing. I suspect they thought only about how do we pressure Iran more. And I say this because, as far as I can tell, a lot of the interagency processes, a lot of the things that would normally characterize U.S. policymaking have sort of just fallen apart under the Trump administration, right? Different parts of the government are not necessarily talking to each other. They're not necessarily coordinating policies. They aren't thinking of second-order effects that their decisions are making. I think the one where things really are about U.S.-India are the tariffs for Russian oil purchases. And I'm not convinced that Donald Trump cares that much at his core about Russian oil purchases. I think this is motivated almost purely out of spite for Modi not lavishing him in praise for whatever he happened to do with the India-Pakistan conflict. And you can see him bringing it up again today at the UN, listing all of these wars that he claims to have solved, going on for so long and saving so many lives. How much involvement do you really think he had in any of those wars ending? He seems to just be openly campaigning for a Nobel Peace Prize and wanting to see which leaders are going to go along with him, which leaders will bend the knee and sort of abase themselves before him.
Before I bring in Sandeep, Ambassador, do you want to quickly respond to that point that various agencies in the United States of America may be working in silos, and the three things, the H-1B visa, the increased tariffs, and all of that he's saying, they may not be interlinked?
Gaurav, it is 101 of practical diplomacy that I learned that it doesn't matter what the internal processes of a country are. That is for that country to decide. What matters is how my interests are being harmed. And if in each case, at the level of the Prime Minister, we have pointed out how our interests are being damaged, and the Trump administration takes the plea that one arm doesn't speak to another arm and there is no coherence, there's no communication, then what am I supposed to do?
Yep.
How am I supposed to respond? As far as I'm concerned, I'm not concerned my damage is coming from which direction of the United States administration. What concerns me is that my interests are being damaged and that the White House, which is supposed to coordinate policy in any government, it is the top leadership which coordinates policy, and I find this facile to say that the Chief of Staff, that the National Security Advisor, are not in a position to coordinate different aspects of US policy and that they are not able to present in a coherent fashion these elements to the president.
Okay.
Of course
Let me get Sandeep Puneethan.
These are excuses, and these excuses we should just simply brush aside.
Okay, let me bring in Sandeep Puneethan, because the 2018 waiver for Chabahar port held India in good stead. How do you see Trump administration revoking the exemption quietly ahead of trade talks, unless these are levers being pressed to extract the maximum bang for their buck for the US?
Absolutely, Gaurav. There's no doubt about it. Every lever that can be pulled, every lever that can be pushed to pressurize India has already been pushed. We've seen that over the last couple of days. Of course, Chabahar was the final act. They've done everything, the kind of rhetoric. And, Gaurav, to give you an analogy of how the entire US, negotiation style has been, it's like, a military assault. first you have the artillery, the heavy artillery, and then the tanks move in, and then finally the infantry moves in. And the infantry here is the trade delegations. And before that, you've seen this unparalleled bombardment on social media with all of Trump's acolytes coming and hitting out at India, at our buying of Russian oil. The kind of language that we've seen, Gaurav, is something that we've not seen coming out of the United States in a very long time. Some people say
dead
this
economy, laundromat, the kind of terminology they're using.
Is it 1998? Is it 1971? I'm not quite sure. The kind of language that's coming out, and Trump is singularly responsible for setting India-US relations back by a quarter of a century. And I've spoken to some of Ambassador Karju's colleagues, and they tell me, my question to them is, why is India playing it so calm? Why is it, so measured in the statements that are coming out? And they said, look, whatever we say now is going to echo decades from now, right? We have a responsibility to ensure that this is the kind of line that India took, and it was, respected, and the world has taken note of it, Gaurav. The language that India has used in these last couple of weeks, in the face of very great provocation from the United States, has been outstanding. And
you said that we've been set back, if it's either by 25 years, if it's back to 98, or by 50 years, if we go back to 71. Correct, Kafura? US action so far, including going soft on Pakistan, indicates that this comprehensive strategic partnership is not valued by the US president much. Of course, he didn't care for allies like the EU or Japan or South Korea, but do you see more headwinds in India-US relations? Because in India, the assessment, at least of the strategic community or the civil society, is this relationship is not important for President Trump at all.
I mean, you're right. He doesn't really seem to care about U.S. relationships with other allies and partners. Look at how he treated the Japanese, the South Koreans, the Europeans. I think you're accurate to say that he doesn't value the strategic aspect of this relationship. I think he's really reacting on a personal level, right? His personal relationship with Modi and how that's gone and how that's evolved. I do also think the other factor here is, how does Trump's relationship with Xi evolve in his second term? Because the other way that this can turn around for the U.S. inter-relationship is for Trump to have a falling out with Xi. If they don't get along, if relations between the U.S. and China sour, Trump likely to turn around, reverse all the previous statements, right? You have to remember also, Trump says a lot of things, does not hold a lot of very deep beliefs on most issues. So as bad as things are now, if the wind changes 6 months from now, he could be in a completely different position. But I agree with the ambassador. It is not India's job to deal with the problems of internal U.S. policymaking. You may have to connect the dots in some meetings, though. You may have to line things up and explain to your American counterparts, hey, all of these different things are having this series of effects, and this is how we're seeing it from our side.
Okay.
And I say that simply.
Ambassador Kaju, do you see more headwinds ahead? Because there are already reports from the US that suggest Trump may be looking at that OPT program, or that optional practical training program, which permits students to work during and after their studies. There's a new bill that aims to end the OPT program and then put a tax on the earnings from OPT program. There's also a proposed 3.5% tax on foreign remittances by non-citizens to the US. That too could adversely impact India, will adversely impact Indians there.
Look, at the end of the day, all my experience has taught me that countries look at who can harm them more than who can help them. Why is Trump a little wary of China? Because China has leverages against the United States. Even at a personal level, if his ties with Xi break down, he's a smart man. Unless he was a smart man, he could not have been in the position he is in. He is a very egoistical man. But that's a separate thing. He is smart, no doubt. And he realizes how China can damage him. His allies, Japan, the EU allies, can't harm him in that way. So he treats them with disdain. We can't harm him today. China can. And that is what he is respecting. And that is what he is responding to.
Okay, Sandeep, Is this an opportunity for India, as Amitabh Kant, India's G20 Sherpa, put it? He said words to the effect, by slamming the door on global talent, America pushes the next wave of labs and patents and innovations and startups in Indian cities, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Pune, Gurgaon. Would that be an apprehension in the US or in Trump's thinking, or not at all?
Well, to some extent, yes, Gaurav. And, I agree with what Amitabh Kant said, because in India, we don't move until we've got a jolt. And we've seen that the greatest example of that was in 1991, liberalization. We moved to liberalize the economy only when our gold reserves had to be flown out to the United Kingdom. And this is possibly our 1991 moment again. A lot of people have been saying that the kind of pressure that we are facing from the United States over tariffs and other issues, this is the moment for India to actually make good of that Atmanirbhar Bharat slogan that we've been hearing for so long. And all these other slogans, Gaurav, ease of doing business and all that, you just talk to the businessmen and they'll tell you how they have to actually put in a lot of grease for doing business, and it's not so much of ease. So, things like this, it's time for us to wake up and make it easier for Indian businesses to stand up and make a difference. And, whether it is high technology issues like, fighter jet engines, fifth generation fighter aircraft, we need special programs. There are those templates. We have done it with the nuclear submarine project, for instance.
Yes.
When we've had the kind of laser focus of the PMO, we need to do it with all of these other programs as well. So this is, I think, our moment, and it is for us to, completely lose it. So this is a moment
if we look at it, crack of India would